Zoos are just plain fun, aren't they? You get to see animals from all over the world, and you get to see them up close, sometimes real close. If you visit almost any zoo in the world, you will notice that sometimes the different sections of the zoo are divided up into animal groups, like mammals, reptiles, birds, small animals, even marine animals, such as fish, shark, whales, crustaceans like lobster or crab or shrimp. Sometimes they are divided up into animal groups that live on different continents like North America, South America, Australia, Europe, Asia, Africa, and even Antarctica. But what is amazing is how you might find zoos that specialize in just one group or species, like marine animals. Those are called aquariums. If they specialize in birds, they may be called aviaries. And more, you will see butterflies as the main focus of smaller zoos. And now a little history about zoos before we begin our visit. Zoos or menageries, as they used to be called long ago, have been around for some time. These gathering points in major cities for animals brought in from around the world first got its name zoo, taken from the term zoological garden back in 1847. The first zoological garden opened to the public in London, England in that year. But the first zoo or menagerie was discovered in 2009 at an archaeological excavation in Hercanopolis, Egypt. It was dated back to 3500 BC, give or take a few years. The scientific diggers found the bones of hippos, elephants, baboons, and a few other animals. That collection is not unlike some of the same animals you will be seeing in your visit to the zoo. Alexander the Great, who conquered and created the largest empire of his time back in 323 BC, had an interest in collecting animals he discovered during his campaigns. He sent them back home in Greece. Many wild animals went there from the various countries he discovered. In England, during the medieval era around 1204, King John I created a menagerie or zoo in the Tower of London, the same place, unfortunately, that many English prisoners died. The oldest zoo currently existing is the Vienna Zoo. It is located at the very famous Schönbrunn Palace in Austria. It started its existence as the Imperial Menagerie in 1752, then opened to the public and is still open in 1765. But that was a long time ago. It's time to see what the current zoo looks like. So let's go. There are a couple of thousand of them around the world. There are small zoos, there are large zoos, and some so large they have amusement parks with rides attached. Some zoos you can drive through in your family car. They are called open-range zoos. The animals come right up to your car and look for a treat or two. But for now, let's take a walk through a zoo that has a variety of animals, some of them in open space, and some in large but enclosed spaces. We are going to get up close, sometimes very close, to these wonderful and beautiful animals. It's a long, interesting walk. There are many places to sit down, to grab a bite to eat, or to get a cool drink of water. Ready? Okay, let's go. This is where we start our journey, at the admissions booth, where we buy our tickets to enter. We bought our tickets, so let's move through the gate. Oh yeah, don't forget to pick up a map too. The modern city zoo, no matter where you go around the world, is paying more and more attention to not only the animals, but it is making the experience for humans peaceful, pleasant, and comfortable, and a lot of fun. let's look at our first animal. This little guy with the piercing yellow eyes is called a red-ruffed lemur. It comes from the island of Madagascar, which is a large island just off the continent of Africa, southeastern Africa. It lives in the northeast rainforest and is diurnal, which means it is active and jumping around searching for food in the morning and evening. They love to eat figs, not fig Newtons, however. They primarily eat seasonal fruit, but also have a taste for leaves and shoots. They weigh a little more than 7 pounds and live 15 to 20 years. And mothers, listen to this. They are very clean animals. They spend a lot of time grooming and cleaning themselves. These cuties like to stick together. Their enclosures are simple with climbing limbs, but they were not the friendliest animals to deal with. They basically stay away from visitors at the zoo. They are very wary of humans. A little further down the zoo pathway, we come to a beautiful pond and see some very large but beautiful birds. If you have guessed a pelican, you are correct. These pelicans are called Dalmatian pelicans. They range in the wild from Central Europe to as far east as China. Their highest concentration is in Greece. They live in swamps and shallow lakes. They are big fellas. Their wingspan is 9 to 11.5 feet, and they weigh 20 to 33 pounds. They are basically silent and only start squawking during mating season. They eat mostly fish, but they have been known to eat small birds as well. The females like to build their nest for the babies. The males bring them all the building materials, mostly twigs, grass, and algae. They make as many 40 trips per day with these materials and spend 4 to 5 days in the process of construction of that nest. Well, here's a face only a mother could love. This next animal we see is called a Visayan warty pig and is considered highly endangered. That is because it is only found on 2 islands in the Philippines, south of the Asian continent. Its habitat in the rainforest is being cut down at an alarming rate for various human uses. It grows to 75 to 80 pounds and eats mainly roots, tubers, fruits, and cultivated crops. That's cultivated crops as in human farm crops, which puts them at odds with nearby farmers. Not a happy combination. It is found in only a few zoos in the U.S., Phoenix being one, and in 8 zoos in Europe. As you walk down the main pathways of a zoo, you will often be referring to your map that you are carrying. But helpful direction signs will become a valuable resource and help you decide where you want to go to next. Our next animal on our zoo tour is the largest of all land animals, the elephant. It is 10 to 13 feet in height and weighs in at a whopping 4 tons, or 10,000 to 13,000 pounds. Of course, the trunk is what we think of most, and it is their most prominent feature. It is used for grasping and drinking. It is interesting that it is also a form of communication. They use it to touch and stroke each other as reassurance. Asian elephants have smaller ears. They help in cooling the elephant from the searing heat of their habitats. Elephants can live 60 to 70 years. Throughout history, elephants have cohabitated with humans, sometimes uncomfortably as more and more of where they live disappears. But elephants have been partners with humans in both war and daily living. Because of their size and tremendous strength, they have been put to work under all types of weather conditions. Today, there are about 1,200 Asian elephants and around 700 African elephants in zoos around the world. Okay, let's move on. And not far away, another big guy. We've walked up to see a rhinoceros, a white rhinoceros. This big guy is from South Africa, where most of the rhinos live. There are about 17,000 of them roaming the grasslands, savannas, and swamps of southern Africa. These creatures are big, very big. They are about 6 feet tall, weigh between 4,000 and 7,000 pounds. They are about 11 to 15 feet long. Their large tusks are prized trophies, and that makes them endangered. Despite their size, they are very nimble on their feet. They have relatively small brains for such a large animal. You can figure out what that means. But they run fast and can top out at 30 miles per hour at full speed. They eat mostly leafy plants. Rhinoceros have evolved and first appeared during the Eocene period of history. That's about 34 to 56 million years ago. They started off small, but wow, are they big now. Well, we've been walking for quite a while. How about taking a break? We can stop at the snack stand and get a cool, refreshing drink and maybe order some food. There is a lot of walking to do at a zoo, so you should pace yourself. Take it easy and maybe stop for a rest every now and then. And maybe when you are ready, you can take alternate modes of transportation, like the trams that some zoos offer. Okay, we're rested. Let's move down the path and see what other interesting animals we can find. How about this guy? Yikes, this fellow will get your attention. He's called the African crested porcupine. He is not a creature that you would want to bump into in the middle of the night. They are nocturnal creatures, which means they are most active at night. Those long, scary, pointy things are called quills, and this porcupine is covered with them. When threatened, the porcupine will rattle those quills, hiss, and stomp his feet. He then will look back directly at his attacker. And if contact is made, look out. Someone or something will get stuck with a quill or have one lodged into flesh. The crested porcupine lives mainly in northern Africa and in every European country around the Mediterranean Sea, but mostly in Italy. Their favorite foods are roots, bulbs, but they don't turn back a juicy insect if they can get their teeth around one. They are about 24 to 33 inches long and live in monogamous family groups, one male and one female. They are terrestrial and they do not try to climb trees at all. But if you see one coming your way, climbing the nearest tree would not be a bad idea for you. Sticking with the area of the world where these guys come from, North Africa, we find the camel. Now, how is that for a beautiful, familiar face? Who doesn't know this face, the face of the dromedary camel? They are now fully domesticated. That started at about 2000 BC, and there are no wild dromedaries now. They have done all types of tasks for humans. The double hump camels live in Asia. They are wild and domesticated camels there. In North Africa, there are about 14 million camels now in the service of man. They started to help the nomadic culture there along the trade routes, and they're still helping to this day. They are well adapted for the harsh conditions of the desert. They can withstand wide temperature variations. Their nostrils can shut tight to keep out sand and dust during haboobs. Those are sand and dust storms. Their long eyelashes protect their eyes, and their humps store fat during times of scarce food availability. And of course, they store and drink huge amounts of water for those periods of time between the water holes. And here's an interesting fact. Camels originated in North America about 40 to 50 million years ago. Around 3 million years ago, they followed migration trails to Asia and totally disappeared from North America. So that is why you don't see camels these days wandering the central Midwestern plains of the United States. Back in 1804, during the Lewis and Clark expedition, Captains Lewis and Clark discovered these curious and noisy little animals, the black-tailed prairie dog. Lewis and Clark were so intrigued, they captured one with effort and sent it back to President Thomas Jefferson in Washington, D.C. It was a big hit back then to observe this ball of energetic fur. They may look cute and cuddly, but stay away from them during mating season. They can be aggressive. They are rodents, about 1 to 3 pounds in weight and about 14 to 17 inches long. Some prairie dogs hibernate or sleep during winter. These blacktails don't, although they may lounge around and become a bit lazy. Their habitat stretches from Canada in the north to Mexico in the south, mostly in short grass prairies. They eat plants, grasses, roots, and an occasional insect or two. They live in what are called underground towns. They construct and dig out separate rooms in these towns where they eat, sleep, store food, or just play. They once numbered in the hundreds and hundreds of millions. That number has been reduced because of their shrinking habitat. Colonies range from a couple families to thousands. Their communication system, with its yelps, yips, and barks, is sophisticated with different sounds for different purposes. They do have predators such as coyotes and badgers, bobcats, various hawks, and the golden eagles, which are just a few yards away at our next stop in our visit to the zoo. So let's look at them. The golden eagle is truly a magnificent bird of prey. They are members of the eagle family with a habitat that stretches worldwide, primarily in Eurasia, North America, and Africa. They are often revered by cultures for hunting because of their hunting abilities, and they have the tools to do the job. They are blessed with keen eyesight, powerful and deadly talons or claws, and with flying abilities that sometimes seem impossible with their maneuverability. They have a wingspan of 75 to 90 inches. That's almost 7.5 feet long. Their bodies are 26 to 40 inches long. Females are larger than males, and they weigh about 8 to 11 pounds. They live in grasslands, mountains, wetlands, and chaparral. They eat a wide variety of foods. They like to snatch up and eat small mammals, such as rabbits and squirrels, but they also eat fish, other birds, large insects, and reptiles. They are fierce and successful hunters. They like to return to their nests, and females lay anywhere from 1 to 4 eggs. They build their nests in high places, such as cliffs, trees, and even telephone poles. So, keep a sharp eye open for them where you live. You might even spot a family of golden eagles in your neighborhood. end this part of our visit where we started, at the cover, and walk over to this expansive paddock and take a look at these graceful, majestic creatures, the giraffe. As you watch them, you can see how beautifully they move. They are the tallest animals on the planet. They range from 16 to 20 feet tall. The males weigh about 3,500 pounds, and the females weigh about 1,800 pounds. You can see that they are very big and heavy animals. Their necks are about 6.5 feet long, and they live about 25 years in the wild. They have large eyes that give them great visual coverage, and long tongues, about 20 inches long. That long tongue allows them to grasp their primary food, acacia tree leaves. They will eat other leaves and shrubs as well. They have 2 unusual extensions on top of their heads. Those are like horns, but they are covered by skin and fur. Their legs are strong, and their hooves can be deadly as they protect themselves and their babies from predators such as lions. The splotch marks on their bodies are a type of camouflage to help them blend in with their surroundings. Of course, we humans have no trouble seeing these large animals, and they can run very fast, up to 37 miles per hour, galloping at a sustained speed of 31 miles per hour. They are scattered throughout Africa and live in small but ever-changing groups. Their main habitats are in savannas, open forests, and semi-deserts, and they are one of the main attractions at any zoo. Well, unfortunately, that is all we can see and describe in this volume of Visit the Zoo. And this is really just the beginning of what awaits us. In the following volumes, we will see the lions, leopards, white tigers, aquarium fish, mammals, spider monkeys, and on and on and on. There is so much to see and experience, so check out the other volumes in this zoo series. There's a lot more fun ahead.
If we go to the right, we'll be alive. Hey, over here.
Yeah, that's how I felt. Yeah. And honestly, we've seen that.